Right? Bitch, how you all doing?
Really, really well.
Yeah, you look great.
Thanks.
Sound great.
Thank you.
Voice seems full.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to thank the people that have been here since Friday morning.
The Friday people. I mean,
Who are still with us for this
still with us. I'm sure we lost some on the trail, you know?
Well, obviously, we lost.
We set out our journey at 10 a.m. on Friday. By Sunday, some of us simply just not made it. You know what I mean? Cholera sweeps through the camp at certain points.
I would like to thank the people that have been here since Friday morning who would, I'm just going to go out and see what's out in the lobby. I've seen enough of these jerks.
Oh, let me tell you something. If I were not us and I saw we had a panel, I'd be in the merch room.
Bathroom break.
Yeah, this is the time to go get a hoagie.
I really want one of those root beers from that.
The bottomless root beer that makes everybody look to have a Moscow Mule.
Yeah.
The giant.
I like that they serve sarsaparilla.
The weird thing is, it's funny, it's reverse marketing because usually our crowd, or most crowds, usually our crowd is sneaking booze around in soda bottles, and in this case, they're sneaking soda around in booze cups.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a very strange sort of switcheroo.
Flipping the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're up your peel, you carry candies instead of actual pills.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
But sweet.
Well, I wouldn't know because I'll just sit those out. Speaking of sitting those out, you know what we should do?
Take a question.
Why not?
Speaking of sweet ass, wait.
You.
Hi.
Hey.
First, I wanted to thank you guys. You guys put a lot of effort and energy into co-hosting these. I can only imagine how tired you are, but you guys still look awesome, and thank you so much for that.
Thank you. It's the distance between us. This is right here. This is about the same zone. It would be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And my question is a little bit more directed towards Rich, but Rob, I have something for you as well. For Rich, when you find out that you're directing an episode, how does the selection process work, and how do you break down the script when you first get it? And for Rob, would you ever consider directing an episode?
Okay, so directing, and this goes for any TV show. When a TV show finds out it's either picked up for the next season or renewed, they immediately whip out their production calendar and call the directors they want to direct the show and slot them in based on the director's schedule. So it has nothing to do with the scripts being written or the stories being told or anything. They literally just lock it down.
Almost like a lottery, right?
Yeah.
This is what you got.
You put in, so you find out, in July I found out I was directing, for example, this season, episode 2 and episode 6. Those are the 2 I'm doing this year. And so it's just slotted in. And then writers are the same, in a different part of the office. The showrunner locks down what writer is doing what script. So you don't even know what the story is yet, but this is the story, these are the scripts that will be written by these people this time. And so you don't really know what story you're going to get. And they don't write the story based on who the director is, and the director doesn't get assigned based on the story. It's very much a crapshoot, what you get based on how the calendar susses out. In terms of how I break down the script, it's a very long process, but I start by reading it a lot. And the way I do it, for me, and every director is going to have a different process, but I read it until I see it in my head, which takes me several times to read it. And then once I start seeing it play out in my head, then I started to be able to visualize how I would shoot the scene. And then that is more detailed the further you go into prep, because you start to find your locations, you start to find your guest actors, and then it becomes more real, and you start making notes accordingly. And some people draw storyboards. I know John Badham does storyboarding. I'm not a storyboard guy, but I do very detailed shot lists so that I can translate what's in my head onto paper, so I know how to communicate that to the team. So it's kind of, but that takes place over from the time I get the script to the first day of shooting. So could be 7 days so we get the script late, or it could be 2 weeks so we get the script early. So I spend the time doing that.
In terms of me directing, if the timing's right in my life, I would love to explore something like that. It's not my aspiration, but I think just seeing what he's gone through, it seems very gratifying. But it would take some work on my part, because Rich just didn't just say like, I think I'll direct one. He directed his own movie, directed his own short film. Then he went through an extensive class at Warner Brothers directing program. Then he had to shadow other directors and follow directors around on set. He had to do all these things, so he kind of earned his stripes in order to be able to direct. And when once he did it, he was prepared to do that. I'm not prepared, so I would need to do some of that preparation. I see myself more. I love being an actor. I like being directed. I would love to work with him more as a director, him directing. I see myself more if we were to do season 2, season 3, season 4 of Kings of Con, Cameron would maybe try to take the helm and say Kings of Con and directing it. I can handle that. But until then, I'm happy to have people like him directing and still just tackle the acting thing.
Well, thank you very much, and Rich. Every episode you've directed is awesome.
Thank you very much. You're too kind. Appreciate that. Okay, you.
Hey guys.
Hey.
So, I just wanted to know, what are you guys' favorite qualities about one another?
Favorite quality about one another. I've said this before. I think Rob is a very open, emotionally available guy, which we like to give him a hard time about. Like that's our Rip is I'm the cranky one and he's the nice one. But truth be told, very open guy, easy to we bonded quickly, get along quickly. I think it's part of the reason why our similar sensibilities comedically and improvisation work well because he keeps himself very open. Makes him a good artist, makes him a good songwriter, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Rich is, he's an incredibly grounded guy. He knows who he is, and he's a great leader. And he's the kind of guy that you want to have around when you're not quite sure what to do next. Now, I'm always like, ask Rich, where's Rich? We need to ask Rich, we need Rich here. I like to have Rich around even when he really doesn't have a job to do, because he's kind of a level-headed dude. He makes a great director, he'd make a good politician, he's a good leader in that way, and makes good decisions. So that's a great quality.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. You.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi Rob.
Hey guys. Hey Rob.
Let me ask your question for Rich.
Yes. Actually, no, it's for both of you, but I just want to say your version of Copperhead Road last night was outstanding.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I had such fun doing this song with this band. It's a blast.
It was definitely the highlight of my night. But my husband actually was from Portland, Maine, and he saw Misha Collins on the street the other day. And I was driving my kids to the dentist, of course, and I was like, go say hi. And he's like, no, leave him alone, give us privacy. I mean, how do you guys feel if you're out for the day, just hanging out, when fans approach you and say, can I have a picture, or would you rather just have your privacy and a day off from it all?
For us, it doesn't happen often enough, especially outside of these conventions. It's always a compliment to me. I mean,
yeah, I don't think you're saying exactly what I was thinking. I don't think we're famous enough for it to be a drag. Like I guess if you're Clooney, it would suck. But like for us, I know when I see somebody that I admire, for example, a musician or an actor, usually I don't have the confidence to go over and say, I love your work. So I know that it takes some working oneself up to that moment. So if somebody works themselves up enough to walk over and go, just want to say I really enjoyed whatever it is they really enjoyed that I was involved in, I take that as a high compliment and I appreciate the effort it took on their part to walk over and say it. And I have yet for it to be awkward. I think the one time, it's not even that awkward, it's somebody's like, I was with my kids and they're like, can I get my picture? I'm like, no problem. And so I was like, okay, good boys, stand over there. They're like, oh, your kids can be in it. And I'm like, nah. I'm not gonna do it with the kids, but other than that, it's all fine.
Yeah. It's we never take it for granted. So it's never quite expected. And so when someone does, like you said, come up to us, it's a compliment, and I appreciate it.
Especially when they say things like, "I love you, Walking Dead." Then you feel like they get you.
And
there's Rob.
And there's my bottom. Just to prove a point. Just to answer the question you did.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Hi.
Doug. Hi, how are you doing? Oh, I can't hear you. You got turned off. Is it in there?
There it
Well, it's
is.
on. Hi, I'm Megan, and I have a question for both of you. This is my first time at a Supernatural convention.
Well, welcome to the thing.
You're the last question?
What? No.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't say, but anyway, hi, good to see you, welcome.
Good segue.
I was wondering, Richard, what was your favorite episode to direct for Supernatural?
There's something about every episode that I really enjoy. There's 2 episodes coming out this year that you guys haven't seen yet, number 2 and number 6, that I finished, that I'm very proud of. I can point to something in every episode that I'm like, that was an unbelievable moment, that was a great moment. But if I have to give the basic answer of favorite episode, it's going to be the first one I ever directed, which was Just My Imagination, which is near and dear to my heart because it's the first opportunity I ever had to direct. It also was a story that I really connected to and loved, and really enjoyed telling the imaginary friend story, the little boy story. You know, all the elements of that story resonated a lot with me personally, and I had such a tremendous time overcoming the hurdle of tackling my first episode of television. So I would go with Just My Imagination.
And for Rob, how did it feel, like how was your reaction and how does it feel to play God in Supernatural?
Feels like really big shoes to fill. But it also feels like a really exciting opportunity. I was excited for the challenge when I found out that I was going to be coming back and that part of my character was going to be revealed. So it was an exciting challenge that I enjoyed doing, and I hope I get to do again.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Love you, Rob.
Bye.
Rich, I was hoping that you could, for those of us who come here all weekend just to see you, that you could maybe dispel the rumors that you're going to be pulling back on your hosting duties next year.
Here's the thing, I'm not pulling back on the hosting duties. I'm trimming back on some of the things I do, like I'm not hosting karaoke anymore, starting next year. And I'm slated to, I'll be here on Fridays, but I keep having to miss Fridays because of directing jobs and other work. I've had to cancel a lot of Fridays. I've had to cancel Cleveland coming up. I've missed a couple Fridays this year. So it's not necessarily fair for creation to lean on my work on Friday if I have to continually cancel. So it's not that I'm pulling back on the hosting duties so much as we have built in a fail-safe if I can't be here on Fridays, which we didn't have in place before. So now they're kind of, for 2019, they're marking me as a definite for Fridays and Saturdays, and then, Saturdays and Sundays, and then, you know, if 2 weeks before it looks like it's going to be all in the clear, then I'll be doing the Fridays as well. So it's just about being sure that I can be there versus having people plan around it, and then I have to cancel, and folks are disappointed, and creation has to scramble. So it just seems like a better business model to be more honest with my scheduling landscape. But my plan is, if I'm not shooting another show, is to be here on this day with Rob Benedict on the Fridays of 2019. So that's my plan. And then while you people are doing karaoke, I'm going to be having a chat with the Sandman. I think my weekends of doing both nights at full tilt have come to a close. But Matt will carry that banner, I'm sure, with great energy and do a wonderful job.
Good.
Does that put your fears at ease?
Well, I already bought the ticket, so I was freaking out.
No, well, you'll still see me. I'll still be there. And like I said, if I'm not directing something else, if I am not doing something that would have made me have to cancel, you will suddenly see it go appearing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on the schedule. So I will be here on the Fridays, but for the fact that work prevents it from happening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you for coming just to see me. Appreciate it. Yo.
Hi, Rich. I just wanted to let you know that way back in 2011, you were my very first photo op, and I love seeing you. And my question is, what was the hardest scene besides you doing Loki and Gabriel? What was the hardest scene for you to direct, either for yourself or any of the other actors?
In terms of just episode 13, 20 that I was in, or anything? Okay, anything. There are different things that make a scene hard. It might be more technically challenging because it's a fight and it's complicated, or it might be something that you are doing, like directing myself, which was sort of its own sort of technical hurdle to overcome. Certainly, I mean, if we're going to go down to technically difficult, me directing myself in a scene where I fight me was definitely on the list of things that was real challenging. I mean, I remember you were with me when we were at a convention and that story had come out to the actors, what the story was for the episode. Loki and Gabriel fight, Loki and Gabriel, directed by me. I ran into Jensen and Jared, and they're like, dude, Jensen goes, dude, have you seen the breakdown for the script you're directing? I'm like, yeah, I have. Your fucking head's gonna explode. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Other technical scenes that have been challenging but rewarding. I remember thinking it was hard, and this may not seem like a hard scene. It was a hard scene to do in Just My Imagination when Sparkle the unicorn has been killed, and there's blood everywhere. Because I had to make sure that I had shot everything that didn't have that I had gotten the clean room. Because I had to shoot the scene twice. Once where they could see the blood, once where they couldn't see the blood. Once where they could see Sully, once where they couldn't see Sully. So I had to be sure that I shot everything before I had the prop department come in and put blood all over everything. Because once the room was bloody, the room wasn't going to get unbloody. So that was, I was panicking that I was going to screw something up and suddenly realize, oh no, I missed something. Everybody's got blood all over them. So, those two stand out as two of the more challenging ones. And I'll say, I find a lot of the work challenging. Every time you read a scene, it's a scene that exists on paper, and you have to manifest it into something visual, and that comes with its own challenge. Even if it's two guys at a table, how do you make that interesting? How do you help the actors tell that story to the best of the ability while making it cinematically engaging? Everything has a challenge, whether it's a fight or a simple conversation. But that's what also makes it fun. Thank you so much for your question.
Thanks, Rich.
You're welcome. You.
Hi. I love you, Rob. One of my questions was for Rich.
That's always the setup, by the way. We both get Rich, big fan.
I'm getting a lot of love today.
Your question's for Rob, yeah. Go ahead.
I want to know what your favorite Adam Swain song is.
My favorite Loudon Swain song? I'm a big fan of Mrs. Vance. It's always been one of my go-to Mrs. Vance songs. I like Present Time on the new stuff. Always a sucker for Bandage Hand, too, which was one of the first tunes that I latched onto, and we made a music video. But I think Present Time is great. There's another one you guys played that's a new one that's on the roster that we play tonight.
This is how?
Yes, that's a great song. That was really catchy. That's a really great tune. So I'm narrowing it down to those four. So Bandage Hand, Miss Vance, Present Time, and This Is How. I'm going with those four. That's my favorite EP.
You know, someone asked earlier at our meet and greet was, would you consider directing a video for our new album?
Oh, we should do that. We did that for the last one, and it was a hoot.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Let's do that.
We had so many ideas, by the way, for other songs on Sky Live that we just never got around to.
It's something we could shoot on a Friday when we've got some free time backstage.
That's what we did for the last one.
Yeah.
We should make it a thing.
Bandaged Hand video was shot literally at a hangar like this that was empty. The next day, yeah,
We shot it in 30 minutes,
on an iPhone.
and I had it edited by Sunday. Yeah. Fun, good times. Do that again. By the way, what is your favorite Loudon Swain song while we're here?
Ready, steady.
What'd you say?
Ready, steady.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good choice. Thank you. Like your shirt. You.
Hello.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask, considering that both of your characters are not at the show at the moment, I wanted to know what you guys would like to see if your characters were to come back.
I have to lean it to Rob. I feel like Gabriel got a pretty good run last year, sort of telling the key missing elements of the story. But for you, who kind of drifted up with your sister,
Yeah, I feel like I've got a lot to answer for. Things have gone kind of wacky. I'd like to sort of address some of the questions, like what Michael's doing.
well, they mentioned you too, by the way, in so many episodes. Even
That's what
the
I
episode I directed, it's it comes up, and they're like, well, God's not around. And I'm like, I feel like you gotta answer that at some point.
Yeah. Where have I been? Have I reconciled with my sister? What's happening? I'd like to meet Jack, meet my grandson.
By the way, who's not at the convention this weekend? You do know that, right?
I just now realized that, yeah. I don't know why he's been at every Sunday.
That was one of the more jarring backstage of having coffee on. And Al Cal's here. And literally, he just been texting with him going, "Bummer you're not here, man."
Well, I've been confused all weekend. Yesterday
ago during our Rock God Stands campaign, we were going to be doing a Facebook Live, but it got delayed because you were stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
My question is, when you're stuck in traffic, do you ever yell like at the other cars like, "You're God, get out of my way, damn it"?
You know, I've tried it. I just know in LA, you know, I feel like every street corner has someone yelling, "I'm God, get out of the way."
Yeah.
So when you do that in Los Angeles, people are like, me too, buddy.
Yeah, nobody turns their head. It's not really it's a non-starter in Southern California.
So has not been working for me. And then I try to yell like, I'm an actor who plays God on television.
And again, people say get in line.
It's even worse. Yeah. So yeah, no, now I'm just late. I just get stuck in traffic like everybody else. God, he's just like us.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Hey.
My name's Sana, and I want to test you guys on your modern slang, how well you know it.
I don't know it well at all.
I know real well.
Robbie's much more hip than I am. I won't know. So I
have
fail.
4 words.
Robbie won.
Okay.
The first one is lit.
Lit. So it's lit. It's like
It was not lit. He lit. I lit the candles. Lit.
something lit. It's like
Short for literature. I'm studying literature. This is my English lit class. Lit.
something lit. It's like really cool. It's really good. You're nailing it with that shirt. That shirt is lit.
Okay, Bobo. Whatever. I'm so sorry. Next question.
Cop.
What is it?
Cop.
Cop?
The police arrested Rob when he claimed to be God in his car. The cops came and got him. Cop.
That's all I know is cop. What's cop? Are you cop to it?
Rob wouldn't cop to the fact that he was
Confess?
crazy.
It's like to steal something.
Rob wouldn't cop to the fact that he had drugs in his vehicle.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I copped that Jolly Rancher from the drugstore.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, next.
Dead ass.
Dead ass?
That's inappropriate, young lady. To your room.
Like very true? That is dead ass correct. Like dead ass.
Okay, potty
Like
mouth.
what would you say? What does it mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
What?
Isn't it past your bedtime?
I'm lit.
I know. Yeah, oh, by the way, another definition of lit that Rob just used. Drinking heavily, drunk, under the influence of alcohol. Rob is lit.
You're on the nose.
This is the last one. It's gonna be Gucci.
Gucci.
Gucci?
Like so cool, like on fire, so like wickedly cool. On fuego, no? Really expensive? Italian.
Definition was by the
Yeah, I was like, this party's gonna be Gucci. So like that? Like use it in a sentence.
Yeah.
Everything's Gucci?
Yeah.
Everything's totally cool here? You should come hang out at our place. It's totally Gucci. Like that? Sweet.
Get off my lawn.
I'm 48!
Thank you for the info I'll never use. You.
I love it.
Hi. Well, my question is, if you guys had a day to spend one of those credit cards, what would you buy with it?
We started that question from the beginning and say it again. I have no idea what you said.
Oh, it says to spend. Alright. If you guys had a day to spend one another's credit cards, what would you buy with it?
You had my credit card, what would you buy with it?
Nothing. I'm fiscally responsible. I would maybe pay off some of his bills and then I'd say, Robbie, I got your card. And give it back to him. I think fiscal responsibility is the cornerstone to a happy home. So many fights are about money. And let's be honest, you people have just done terrible things with your money this weekend. That's why. I'm here to calm you down. These bills will be paid off someday. Not this calendar year. But they will be paid off at some point. Robbie?
I know exactly what I'd do if I had Rich's credit card for the day. And it'd be a gift to you, you're welcome.
Thank you, buddy.
Buy a 20
I'd take his car and take it to the Toyota dealer and I'd trade it in for a brand new Toyota Sienna.
You have to ask.
Is that what it's called?
The high-quality minivan from Toyota that's perfect for friends and family alike.
He
Will
loves-
get you around town in style and comfort.
He loves the Sienna. He
The
doesn't
Toyota
have
Sienna. Here, the bad news is sometimes in my family van, I do have to go into inclement weather, and that can be hard. Unless I'm in the all-wheel drive Sienna. Then I don't have any concerns. And by the way, talk about interface with technology. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Next thing you know, you're on the phone with grandma and streaming your music. It's really a psych sight to behold, the Sienna, is a gift to everyone, not just me.
He talks like this about the Sienna all the time, and yet he doesn't own a Sienna.
I know.
He's a director on television. He should have the car he wants, especially if it's a Toyota Sienna, the most unsexy car on the market.
Unsexy? Sir! Sir!
Take his credit out and
That is the Gucciest thing you've said all day. If you weren't so lit, I would dead ass you right here.
You're totally using it wrong. So I got him the car that he wants, and they can stop talking about that damn car.
You know what? I would stop talking about it. But once they gave you a look at that Toyota Sienna, it'd be all you wanted to talk about. Thank you for your question. You.
What is the craziest photo op you've ever been asked to do?
The old crazy photo op question. This is the story I always tell about the crazy photo ops, which is at one point I was asked to do a photo op by a young lady who had a creative idea, and I've done a lot of things in photo ops that I'm not proud of. This was a bridge too far. It just seemed like, as a man, as a married fella and a father, this was not something I wanted floating around on the web, so I graciously declined. I said I appreciate the offer. She had shown me a picture of what she wanted me to do, and I just felt like I couldn't do that pose. I graciously declined, which is not the funny part of the story. The funny part of the story is the picture she showed me to try to get me to do the pose was her doing that pose with Misha. So he was fine with it. It was just on the other side of my safety bubble.
And the story I like to tell is one time Rich and I were in Europe at a convention, and a woman who didn't speak English wasn't her first language, but she was able to sort of mime that she wanted Rich and I to fully embrace each other.
Yeah, really hot. Really get in there.
Get in there, so we were like, all right, and then she went off to the side, away from the photographer, and went, okay, that's just the picture she wants. Like, she wasn't even in the picture. She just wanted a picture of me and Rich embracing each other.
And like, we couldn't have sprung back from each other faster.
Hold on a minute.
We're like, ho, hey, ho.
There's gotta be context.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's just gonna look like Robbie and I made a Christmas card. Happy holidays with Bob and Rich.
We do close embrace on our own time.
That's for our photo shoot. Thank you for your question. You.
Hi. So first I want to say, Rob, thank you for your pronunciation of my name yesterday. It was flawless. That never happens.
Great.
And my question's for both of you. Is there a song that you hear and it makes you think of like how much you mean to each other?
Aww. Wait, that's our song. Oh, really?
That's our song. There's a lot of ways for me to answer this question, but I feel like they would all come out too snarky.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with no.
If
But I will say now, when people ask me, let me think of the whole band actually, yeah. When people ask me, hey, is there a question you've been asked you thought was really strange? I'm going to go, this one. This moment, you've given me something to hold on to. So
I feel like I've got a good answer to this. Anytime, for me, like a song will come on, like just the two of us would make think of that joke that they did.
Yeah.
But I think every time I hear REM, I think about Rich because Rich,
Big REM fan.
Big REM fan, and I'm a big REM fan, and that was something early on that we kind of had in common. So I think about REM comes on. I think about Mike Borja, who also loves REM. I think about Rich.
Didn't Mike and I turn you on to REM?
No, the joke was that you didn't know that Mike and I already had an REM thing, and then all of a sudden you found out Mike liked REM, and then you never let me into your REM.
I thought, that's not true. Mike and I are big REM fans, and we thought, probably should know about this band, and we turned you on. Right, Mike? Didn't we turn Rob on to REM?
Honestly,
Mike, don't you enjoy being on tour with us? Smart move. Thank you for your question.
The robot malfunction.
You.
Do you guys ever think there could be a spin-off with Supernatural as Adam Gabriel, and what do you think would happen in it?
I do.
Well, it'd be fun if there were.
I do. It's going to be a sitcom. It's a comedy.
Where we fight crime.
We fight crime.
And fight each other.
Yeah, in our convertible VW Bug.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure we're going to be driving a Toyota Sienna. How are we going to get the perp in the back seat unless those doors slide open for us? You know what I'm saying?
We crank our REM
Yes, I wish there would be that spin-off. It would be fun.
That'd be damn fun.
Yeah. Oh well. Make it happen, dear God.
All right.
Thank you for your question. You.
My question is for both of you, but first I wanted to say that I have a 9-year-old little brother, and I showed him an episode where Gabriel is in, and he won't stop talking about him. Thinks he's amazing. Coolest thing ever.
Smart kid.
Yeah, and he wound up watching the entire season 13 before I did because you were in it, and he wound up spoiling the fact that you died. So that's pretty sad, but I wanted to ask you if you could describe the show to somebody who's never watched it. What would you say?
It's about lumber sexuality. Two incredibly handsome fellas
Wearing plaid.
who look like they're just poured into their jeans and wearing boots that are too big for the occasion, but why not? And wearing flannel over a t-shirt when really the weather would just say go with the t-shirt, but no sir, I'm going to go in layers. These layers, you know.
They got deep baritone voices.
Deep baritone voices and fabulous hair and smell like candy. And I forgot what we were talking about. I just had lost just if the sun could come to Earth and be a man, that man would be a man who's split into two men, and those men
Would be Jensen and Jerry.
dear God, they're good-looking guys, so handsome, so strong, so fit.
The hair.
Anything they can't do? I mean. If we could elect two men president, I'm just saying, if we could just have I, the Winchesters, do solemnly swear, blah, 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 if they ran the country, you know what I mean? We would have, we'd have less beer in the White House fridge, and we'd have fewer problems than we have right now. So true.
Thank you.
You're welcome for that non-answer. You.
My question's for Rob.
All right.
What inspires your music writing?
Other artists really inspire me. Other musicians inspire me, and so I'm inspired to make music because I really like music, and I always am listening to music, either on headphones or stereo in the house or in the car. So I always have melodies flying through my head, and that'll inspire me to make one of my own. They all kind of meld together, then I'll start humming something, I'm like, oh, that's not a song, that's just me humming a melody. I kind of like that, I'll write it down. In terms of lyrics, that is a little more personal. I just am inspired by an emotion, a feeling, a story I read, but mostly it's about emotions that I'm feeling that I need to get out, almost like a diary, get it out in a song. And sometimes it's very personal, and sometimes it's more like a story that I'm telling, but I'm kind of pouring my emotions into that story. Does that make sense? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi guys. I just first wanted to say thank you for all that you do because you've helped me through a lot, and kind of segues into my question of did you ever think you were going to be able to inspire so many people?
I think I'm glad that the show is helpful to you. I think that we are fortunate to be involved with a show that has a message that resonates with people. I'm quick to say, and I think Rob would join me in saying this, that we are a small part of the larger world that is the show that people connect to. But if my part in the show, my role, is something that my character did, something that the writers wrote for the character to do, connected with you or other people, and Rob I know has had that with people in his character as well, it's awesome. It's awesome to be a part of that. We are as humbled by it as those who are the recipients because, we wound up playing the role, and then the writers and the producers and the directors sort of give us the tools to work with, and we're lucky that we've gotten some cool tools to play with. And if those stories have resonated, that's awesome. We feel very fortunate. Rob, is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it certainly never, as an actor, you never expect that you're going to reach people on a certain level. You just want to do your job as best you can and create art. And so we're so thankful for that opportunity. And in terms of my music, I certainly never, I mean, to me, that's like, it's just for me, and if someone else gets something from it, that's just like this incredible feeling. You're like, oh my God, that's awesome. It's almost like that feeling, why you feel how I feel, and so no, we never expected anything, and we are feel so blessed to be a part of this larger family that is Supernatural.
I'm quoting, there's a quote that I heard years ago that I thought was great. When Annie Hall was celebrating its 20th anniversary for being an Oscar-winning film, they were interviewing him, I think it's Charles Jaffe, but the producer of the movie, they interviewed him to say, did you ever think when you were making Annie Hall that it would resonate with so many people? And his short answer was no. But his longer answer was, one thing I know about storytelling is, when you go for something universal, a lot of times you get nothing. But when you go for something specific, every now and then you get something universal. And I think that's what Supernatural has accidentally stumbled onto. The story of two brothers in the shadow of their father fighting demons, both real and emotional, has been something that a lot of fans can latch onto. And as we, as supporting characters, come in and out of that universe, we add to that, rainbow of colors that exist in the Supernatural storytelling pantheon. And it's an awesome thing to have been a part of, because we were just guys hired to do guest star work, and here we are years later answering your question, what you think about the connections you have with the show. So it's an honor and a privilege.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You.
Okay, so I know you guys said that you film out of order sometimes, so
Always.
I wanted to know, what was the very first scene you guys ever filmed?
For me, the very first scene I filmed was me sitting in the auditorium while Jensen wrestled women in their underwear on stage. Robbie?
The first scene I actually filmed was I think the first scene I had in the episode where they knock on my door and I open up and they say they're the Winchesters and I slam it in their face. Because I can't believe that's...
It's kind of rare, so you need your first scene first. That's kind of...
Yeah, it is kind of rare. And I was like, kind of thrown right into the fire, like working with the boys and met the boys. And yeah, it was a real trip. And I tell the story before I had just come back from a Loud Swing tour. And it was before I kind of like was taking voice lessons and kind of learned how to use my voice. And if you don't use your voice correctly, you can lose it. So we had this really long gig, long set. It was actually a 3-set night, and I had no voice. And so I was really nervous, but it worked out well because I was supposed to be groggy and maybe a little drunk, and like, who's at the door? And I was worried that I was going to come off sounding, like Chuck, like it actually sounded
There you go. Here we go. Thank you for your question.
Hi.
And you.
I just want to tell you, Rob, every time my mom and I come to NJCon, the whole weekend, we just keep talking about how cute you are.
Thank you so much. That's nice.
And my question for you is, I remember hearing that you like to read, so I was wondering what is your favorite book, and if you're reading anything interesting right now?
Right now I'm reading a book called Before the Fall. It's a friend of mine recommended it to me. It's really, really interesting about a plane crash. It has 2 survivors trying to piece together why it crashed, and it tells the story of all the other people that were on the plane. It's actually written by a TV writer called Noah Hawley. One of my favorite all-time books is The Adventures of Cavalier Clay. It's a great book by by an author, Michael Chabon, that I really like. He wrote Mysteries of Pittsburgh. He wrote what's the Michael Douglas movie? The Something Boys. I can't remember right now, but anyway, he's a great author. And
Not the fabulous Big Boys.
No. Wonder Boys. Thank you. And anyway, and that's his masterpiece, I think, The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay.
I have that book, I haven't read it yet.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, it's a big one, but it's really terrific.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hello, guys.
Hey, bud.
Just wonder, what one band influences the music that you write?
What one band influences you most, Robbie?
I'm influenced by a lot of different things, and I grew up listening to everything from like 70s music, like Sly and the Family Stone and Earth, Wind and Fire, to British rock from the '60s, Rolling Stones, The Who, The Beatles. I think all those are kind of in my DNA because that's what my family listened to, and so that's what I listened to when I was growing up. And then lately it's been bands like Radiohead, which isn't anything like music I write, but it really inspires me to create music because their music is doesn't care about what it is. They're just creating it to make good music. They're not trying to fit into a box. And so, yeah, I'm inspired by people that really feel their music, I like the band Pearl Jam. I think Eddie Vedder really feels his lyrics and such a great performer. So yeah, so much music, it's hard to name, just, nail it down.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good solid list, though. A lot of influences.
There's what inspires you?
Well, I don't write, music, so it's not a thing, but I love music. I listen to REM since I was a kid. I've been to bluegrass a lot. I like, Steve Earle, obviously, because I sing him. Love Chris Stapleton right now. I listen to him. Sturgill Simpson. Grew up loving the Doors, Hendrix, the Rolling Stones. I was big into that kind of stuff as a kid. So I'm pretty wide. The Kingston Trio, really I have a pretty wide selection that comes across my. Every now and then, I would put one of my headphones on and listen to something. It's like, man, this is on your mix? Like, Ricky Skaggs? But it's just I have a pretty varied list. Anyway, thank you for your question.
I recently got Sirius Radio. And
I just did the same.
Oh, good. Yeah. It's really terrific because it's something for everybody. And, I love the Beatles channel. It's really terrific. And it's got the 80s on 8. With the
I know.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
You.
All I want to say is I love you guys and you inspire me every day. And you guys are both cute, not just Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My question is for the both of you. If you like the band Linkin Park, what song would you choose? Your favorite song?
I like What I've Done. I'm a big fan of that song. I like, the thing I like Linkin Park. I don't know their deep stuff. I know the stuff that was popular and really dig it. So I don't have a deep track that's going to stun people.
Yeah, one of those bands that I don't know if I can name one.
What I've Done, I thought was just a fantastic song. I used to listen to the loop.
What's the one?
That's what I have out here. You guys tell them that?
I think that's New Divide.
Oh, New Divide is great too. That's a great song. I probably have only the big hits on my phone, but they're good. I take it you're a big Linkin Park fan.
Yeah, I could name 20 of them, but we'd be here for hours.
Yeah. Well, we have been here for hours. We have been here for hours.
We have been here for hours,
but yeah, thank you.
I love you guys, and I'll see you later.
Thank you for your question.
Great, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, right there. Last question. What do you got?
First of all, I want to say that I love you guys. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
So I'm pretty sure you guys have experienced people who've gone starstruck when they met you, they go speechless and they get a little nervous. Have you guys ever, since you become famous, ever gotten starstruck by someone, maybe a childhood hero?
Have we ever gotten starstruck seeing somebody?
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. I always tell the story. I was in Ireland with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and I saw Michael Stipe in the lobby of the hotel, and I lost my ability to speak. And my wife wouldn't know who George Clooney was. She literally doesn't recognize anybody. She thought I just lost my mind. Which I kind of had in that moment. I had lost my mind. Robbie?
Yeah, that happens in LA a lot. You'll be in a restaurant and, someone really famous is in the restaurant and you're like, oh, well, there's Tom Hanks over there, or whatever. But for me, I have a longer story I'll tell you some other time, but I met Eddie Vedder, and he obviously is a hero of mine, and I went completely speechless and stupid, and said a couple of stupid things to try to get him to talk back to me, which he never quite did, and then I basically asked him for a cigarette, even though I don't smoke, and he passed me his carton or his pack of cigarettes without looking back at me. He went like that, which it seems like a cut, but actually I was like, oh my god, he heard my voice. So yeah, I fangirl quite a bit.
Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. So the band being behind me now means that for this, the 100th creation of Super Ransom Convention, this is the end of our time on stage with you. This wraps it up. I know.
But we're not doing, me and him are still doing some photographs.
We got photographs, we got our stage again. So we're gonna sing the song that we like to sing to close out the weekend. If you know the words, by golly, join us, won't you? Actually inspired by my favorite band, R.E.M.